Hey guys, getting really bored of this quarantine? Wanna learn something new like game development? Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, it is. If you wanna learn game development, you are in the right place. This is a channel by the students of IIT Kharagpur, and we are gonna cover every nook and corner of game development in this channel. We are gonna do a lot of videos about game development, so if you don't wanna miss those videos, click that subscribe button and click the bell icon. With that said, let's get started. This is the first video, so this video is for complete beginners in game development. This video is Introduction to Unity. First of all, to make a game, you need something called as Game Engine. Game Engine is the platform that lets you use its features to create games. There are mainly two major players in the game engine market. The first one is Unity and the second one is Unreal. Unreal is known for its high graphics quality, while on the other hand, we have Unity, which is known for its ease of use and it is used by almost all indie game developers. In this channel, we'll be covering mostly Unity. First of all, to get started, we need to download Unity. So how do we do that? Let's jump right into my computer.
Go to your browser and then type Unity. The top link will be the official link. Once you enter the website, you can find a lot of information about Unity. I encourage you to read all that. It'll inspire you to make more games. Click on Get Started button. There are two versions of Unity, one for business and one for individual purpose. You can download the individual one. Click on this button to install Unity Hub. Once Unity Hub is installed in your PC, launch the application. Next, you need to download your Unity editor. Click on Install tab and then click Add button to install Unity editor. In this case, we have installed 2019.2 version. Installing will take a while, so sit back and relax. After installing, click on Projects tab and click the New button to create a new project. Give a name for your project and the location to be stored in. There are various predefined templates like 3D and 2D. You can select 3D for now. And now you are inside Unity. Now we'll look at basic layout of Unity. Right side of your window, you can find the Inspector tab. The Inspector tab has the detail of the components attached to each game object. The next one is the Scene tab. The Scene tab is the view in which you place all your game objects and you can view it in 3D space. The next tab is the Game tab. The Game tab shows what is actually being shown in the game by the camera. The next one is the Hierarchy tab. This tab contains all the game objects in your scene. You can click on any of the game object to select that game object. Don't panic if you don't understand any of the terms. You'll understand this as we move along. In the right top corner, we also have a drop-down list named Layout. You can click on this and choose a predefined layout or use a custom layout. At the top, you can find three buttons. One is Play, which plays the game. The other one is Pause, which pauses the game. Third button is used to play the game frame by frame. At the bottom of the window, you have the Project tab. This tab holds all the assets that you're gonna need in the game. You can import your assets here and then use it in your game, or else create your own. You also have Unity Asset Store where you can find many high quality free assets. When you start a new scene, Unity provides you with a camera and a directional light. The camera is the one which records your game and outputs that to the user. What the camera sees is what the player sees. Now we'll add a 3D object to our scene. You can do this by right-clicking on the hierarchy panel and then going to 3D objects and selecting cube. Alternatively, you can use the game object tab on top. With the cube selected in the hierarchy, we can use the transform component to move, rotate and scale the cube. Notice that I am changing the X component of the position and the position of the cube changes in the scene view. Now I am changing the rotation of the cube about the Y axis. Notice that the cube rotates about the Y axis. We can also scale the cube in the same way. You can also move the cube with the arrows shown in the scene view. You can use W, E, R keys to change the position, rotation and scale of an object. You can focus on a game object by double-clicking the game object on the hierarchy panel or selecting the game object in the hierarchy panel and then pressing F. To move around in the scene view, you can use these shortcuts. For panning, use Alt and middle mouse button. For orbiting, use Alt and left click. For zooming in and out of the scene, use your scroll wheel.
With all the basic layout explained, let's do something interesting. We'll do some physics simulation here. I hope you'll enjoy that.
We'll add another game object to the scene, which is a plane. The plane is going to act as a ground. With the plane selected, you can see that the plane has a component called as Mesh Collider. The Collider component is responsible for giving the plane the ability to act as a collider and collide with other game objects in the scene, which also have colliders attached to it. If we lift up the cube and then click play, it just hangs in the air. Nothing happens.
Every game object in the scene has many components attached to it. Each component controls a specific behavior of the game object. Like the rigid body one. Rigid body component gives the object the ability to act as a rigid body in the game. There are many settings, but in this case we'll use gravity setting of the rigid body component.
In the inspector window, click on add component and then type rigid body. Select rigid body and not rigid body 2D because we are working in 3D space. You can see that we have an option called as use gravity. Just check it and click play. You can see the cube falls to the ground. Cool, right? Note that the cube would have passed through the plane if it did not have the box collider component attached to it.
Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. We'll be launching videos every week, so stay tuned. Until then, bye.
And